Dumb money. This week's question comes from Jeb. Should I keep paying the minimum payment on my car and keep paying down my federal student loans, or stop student loan payments and triple my car payment to pay off car before interest starts back up on student loans? Car payment is $540 a month with $18,000 left, and student loans will be $1,100 with $79,000 left. And I follow it up by asking the interest rates, and the interest rate on the car is 2.9%, and the federal student loans are 7% once interest rates start back up. But before I give my thoughts on this, let's get a random group of people together and see what their thoughts are. But also, don't forget to subscribe, as I'm really trying to grow this channel and every subscriber helps. With that, this is Dumb Money.
Definitely advise against ever paying the minimum on anything. That's just the fastest road to debt, in my opinion. Always pay more, even if you can't. I mean, there's no point of paying the minimum on any type of loan if it just means that you're gonna be able to spend money on other things you don't need. So definitely, if your payment is $1,000 for your student loans, you should probably be making $1,200 towards it. And if your payment's $500 towards your car, you should probably be making like closer to $650, $700 if you plan on, because you don't pay interest if you don't have a total left on your loan. You only pay interest for the amount of time you have the loan. So I know that the college one's more expensive, it's gonna be a bigger thing, but realistically, if you only have like 5 Gs or whatnot left on your car, pay off the car, pay like $800 to the car, minimum on the student loan, pay off the car, finish that, and then boom, now you got extra money to pay like $1,200, $1,500, and then those extra months where you make a little extra money, toss like 2 Gs at it. That's my advice.
My advice is don't have a student loan. I don't have one, so it's really hard for me to answer that question. Never pay the minimum on anything unless you absolutely have to, because interest rate is you're just gonna end up paying more on your vehicle or whatever purchase that you make. But there's something about a freeze. I would use that to an advantage. I am completely ignorant to that terminology and what's going on with that, but always do what's best for you, what you can.
Don't know why. Honestly, you could just keep doing what you want or what you're doing, but I don't know, man. Whatever feels right. Whatever you think feels right. You know, only you're gonna know in your situation what's right to do. So talk to your intuition, meditate on it, and then make a decision. That's it.
Okay, well, I would go for the one that has the most interest first. I feel like that just kind of makes sense. I also just don't recommend buying a car new. If you can actually save up money to like buy a car outright, even if it's not the best car. You have student loans, you're paying other bills. If you just need a car that gets you around, like who cares if it's fancy and red and goes really fast? Someday you might marry rich, and then he will buy you a really nice red fast sports car. Go for the student loans.
Based on my history of paying off my student debt and my car payments, I typically just do it both at the same time. Whenever I get my paychecks, and I take some of that paycheck, of course, towards rent, towards other bills. But of course I have car payments as well as my student loans. I don't wanna pay one thing at a time because it's gonna accumulate later on. Say the interest rates go up or something like that on my car payment, or student loans, that's also an issue as well. I'm still good about Joe Biden prolonging the student loan debt. So right now I'm paying for the car payment, but in a different world and a different reality, I would probably just do them all at the same time. But for now, thanks to Joe Biden, love you, man, you're the greatest. My student loan is deferred over and over again. You might as well just cancel student debt, just to be honest.
Refinance the car for a better APR. So I would just recommend going to wherever you got the loan distributor that's helping you finance the car and just refinancing it for a lower APR and a lower monthly payment. But if you're really in a rut, probably just trade in the car for something more in your budget.
Since I actually paid off my student loans in 3 years, I would actually continue to pay both and try to put more on the student loan because of such a high interest rate. You want to keep attacking that principal, because if you're just like, oh, it's a freeze, use that to your advantage, pay it off, bring it down so that it's less interest. Car is fine. If you don't need the car, I'd sell it and then make that money and put that on the student loan. But if you need it, then obviously keep making those payments, but would keep maintaining and adding more to the student loan.
So as always, when we're trying to figure out what the general population thinks, definitely some interesting takes. Zeke, I see you. But out of the entire group, I think the majority had some good thoughts behind it. Obviously, this is a lot of debt. We're looking at $18,000 in car debt and $79,000 in student loans. That's a place where we wouldn't want anyone to be. Luckily, though, the car debt is at 2.9%. That's actually pretty great. And as always, I am a situation-to-situation person, not a one-size-fits-all. And with this, it goes against the common trend of what we hear in the personal finance space, I think. With where you're at, Jeb, when it comes to your monthly payments on your car and with what's remaining, I'm guessing you're on a 3 to 4 year term. And if anyone is going to get a car loan for any reason, it better have an interest rate of 4% or less. It better be 3 to 4 years, preferably 3. And the total minimum monthly payment better be less than 8% of your take-home pay. There's plenty of reasons why I'm against car debt and I don't go into it in general, depreciate an asset. But there are mathematical justifications you can use, and that always trumps emotions. Math wins. So if you met that criteria, Jeb, were I in your shoes and that's the only way I answer questions on here? Well, actually, never mind. That does kind of change my answer. I don't like having car debt, so I would try to pay it off as quick as possible. But that's just me. This is what I would do because I don't like the risky situation of the car breaking down for whatever reason, then I have a debt on it. And if the insurance isn't covering that situation, I still have to pay off that debt and go get another car. And I do not like that risky situation. But if you meet the criteria, and you certainly do with the interest rate, but if your car loan is 3 to 4 years and the monthly minimum payment of $540 is less than 8% of your take-home pay, then honestly, maybe we're just doing minimum monthly payments until this thing is paid off. And the reason is because the S&P 500 on average at its 10% average will beat this 2.9% interest rate on here by a lot, even taking into account depreciation on your car. But just like when I talk about paying student loans early versus investing, this only matters if the extra money that you'd be putting towards this car payment on a monthly basis is going towards investing. If you're just spending it on bullshit, then guess what? No, put it towards this debt. The only way to make it mathematically justified is if you're putting it into assets that make more on average than the interest rate you are paying on this car. But that takes us to the student loans. The freeze is going to end at some point, most likely. It might get delayed again, who knows, but it's most likely not going to get forgiven with the current Supreme Court that will be deciding on it. And because of this, you will likely have to repay these at some point. Who knows when that official resuming will happen? It could get delayed again, or it could be in the summer or early fall. These sitting at 7%, yeah, we want to attack these things. And that's why, in my mind right now, were I in your shoes, I'd probably be saving up this extra money. Instead of putting it in the S&P 500, because I know the 7% interest is going to be coming, I'd be saving up this extra money beyond my minimum monthly payment on my car on a monthly basis, and I would be putting that in a high yield savings right now, getting about 3 to 4% a year. With that, at least it's keeping up with normal inflation. And then once the repayments start, then you can take everything you have in there and throw it at these terrible student loans. I mean, I don't know what your income is, but having $1,100 minimum monthly payment squeezed from your income every single month once payments start up on these student loans for something you already went through and you're not even taking advantage of anymore, i.e. going to college, that hurts. Get rid of these. Of course, you're using the degree, so hopefully you're getting a good return on investment from that. But either way, the 7% is just brutal. No thank you. No sir, no ma'am. So I don't know what your income is, but we're trying to get as close to that $79,000 as we can throughout this pause, putting it in a high yield savings account. And once these student loans resume, we are putting everything towards it. And then we're not having a single ounce of fun until they are paid off. You are going crazy until this deadly 7% interest rate, nearly $80,000 loan is gone. Then once you do that extra beyond your car payment, that could be something you're putting in asset classes that make over that 2.9% interest you're paying on the car. But again, you actually have to be investing that money and not spending it on bullshit. So that's personally what I would do were I in your shoes. If you have a question for dumb money, email me castingcalebhammer@gmail.com with dumb money in the subject line. Just make it 1 to 2 sentences to make it easy to read off to people. Check out all the fun things in the description, like my Instagram and Twitter, and don't forget to subscribe. Thanks.